I got to say something else that feels really good very quickly.
Not quickly, take your time, because if you feel good, I feel okay. I feel also very good. So I'm very happy.
I see you showing up. I see you showing up so fully for Positive Impact Movement. It's great because it's gotten to that part where I'm like, oh, she's going for it. You know? And it wasn't that you weren't beforehand, but you can tell when like it feels like something, like a dial just got turned up somewhere.
Really?
You know? Yeah. Oh. It really, so like I feel like, oh, I'm seeing you. I know that we had one of our conversations went live, and so I'm tagged in a lot more, which is like yes, it's filtering that, it's popping you from that perspective. But I'm also seeing like the various places that you're posting, the types of resources that are coming out. Like I'm seeing you actively out there, and just and it's. So I did this motion. I'm just checking in on that. Because when I do this here, I've done this with people, like it's like, okay, it's like a push, you know. I'm not sure if I'm feeling a push. I feel like there's the expansiveness is in here. Yeah. So that's what I'm seeing. I just wanted to say, like, and it feels good. It feels good to see it. I'm grateful on many different levels. I'm like, oh, she's a player and she's playing. Like, this is the game now, you know, like the game just became, whatever it is, like, it's like the playoffs, you know, how like the regular season, okay, sure, but like now it's the playoffs, okay, we're all in. So let me just start off with that acknowledgement of you. Yeah, how does it feel on your end to be?
No, you know, I thought 1 month or 2 months ago, I thought the movement, it's I already told you, it's borderless. And it should be a movement, and having a community is enclosing a movement. And I don't like to call it community because it's a movement. So I said, well, what I love to do is really have conversations, like you were saying before. I love to have conversations and inspire people. Because the Positive Impact Movement initially was called People Inspiration Movement. So, and I believe that by listening to people like you, we empower a lot. We plant a seed to the heart of the people, and from there we change the world, because they start changing themselves the way they have to change, their own way. So I said, well, if I really love to have conversation, and if I really love to discover the power of being of each of the persons, why don't I do that? If I love to connect to this power of being, when I'm with you, I feel you. And so I said, I'll start again where I started, and it was having conversations and sharing those conversations, plus writing about people, writing about what I feel when I see someone in YouTube that also has created other things that I consider as a socially conscious leader. Maybe, well, I don't know this person personally, but it's what I get from this person. Why not write about this person? So I started doing that too, creating some articles, and discovering what I read out of them, of their actions, of their beingness, that has to do with the power of being of them and how they empower other people. Power of being is this freedom to be who they are and create what they love. So I said, I do that again. I start there again, which is what I love to do. And so I move the movement. Also, I expand the movement, because we all are the same, and we all are creating communities, and we all have projects that relate to us, to our own evolution. And well, why not connect through conversations? because then something maybe comes up that inspires someone or makes them connect with someone, and I supported this connection, and it goes through the positive impact movement, not through me. You muted, Niiamah?
I'm super muted there.
Yeah.
There's a few different things that are flowing through me right now. One of them is I feel like I just need to like take a breath and like clear and like presence myself just one bit here, because I have this is what I needed. Oh, I have a laptop underneath what you can't see, and for some reason today I'm like seeing all these notifications, and I'm like, and it's getting in the way of here of us. Also, while this works somewhat, I feel the physical bear. Like, do I sound a lot different? Can you still hear me?
Yeah, no, I hear you very well.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel the physical like distance when I can't just do this, you know. So I just needed to get my environment right. So that feels good. Let me take one more breath to like clear out everything that was not this conversation. Do you mind? If you want to take it with me.
Yes.
All right, let's do it. Let's take it in on 3. 1, 2, 3. And out whenever it feels good. Oh, yeah. There we go. Expansion, right? Like I cannot talk to someone about the power of being and not be being. And what was happening as it was happening, there was a lot of doing energy. Oh, that needs to get done. Oh, that needs to be there. Oh, why isn't that person doing it? Like I was like, what is happening? I could feel that rising in, you know. I was like, I think I just need to like, I know our time together is special. 1, I know that you are special and I am special. 2, and I know that the conversation that we're going to have is special. And it's, I really want to be in the practice of like honoring that.
Yes.
Yeah. So thanks for giving me some chance to us.
I know, always. I love it. Yeah.
You know, there's well, yeah, there's some things I want to say to what you were just saying that like came alive in me. But I want to see where else like you may want to go with it. Are you interested in like where would you want to go?
No, we are flowing together. So it's super nice that you tell me what you felt, and then from there,
we go. I was really struck when you said like by putting it into the community, you've closed it, and it's like, and you've had to open it back up by going back into movement. I've led my own movement, the World Joy movement, on and off, right? And so I know, I know what you're talking about when the energy is different in a community. That it's just, it almost feels as though the rationale I was giving myself was, well, first, if I had a community, then that community would like, this is a certain group of people that will then go off and champion the movement.
Yeah.
But I love what you're saying, which is like, well, some of what I am getting from what you're saying is a lot of times we think we need to transmute something. Let's do it here, and once we do it here, then maybe we can transform it into this, and then we can transform it into that. And other times it's like, if you just build it as the thing that's supposed to be at the end, like then it always has the integrity throughout it, you know, regardless of how many people are part of the movement, even if it's 50 people, you know, or 500 people, like from the very beginning, you're building the movement being and doing related to a movement. As a, you know, am I getting that right?
Yes.
And it's a different energy. It's a different energy between I'm pouring into this closed circle here, and you all are benefiting from this closed circle. And now I'm going to try and open up this closed circle, because the people who came in for that experience are actually came in for the community experience, as opposed to the movement where it's like, this is going to move through you, and then you're going to pick it up and you're going to move it however you need to. And I want to call that out because there's something in there that's also a reminder for me around, like, as I'm talking to you, it's making me like take a look at the current approach to how I'm doing things. You know, I'm a coach, so I can spend time doing one-on-one. And it's like, well, if I do one-on-one, that should lead to groups, right? Transform into groups. Well, okay, if I do groups, that's to be able to transform to community. And then once I get to community, then I can transform that into movement, you know? And it's making me question that. It's making me question that right now, where it's like, oh, and this is also part of my experience, like one-on-one does not lead to the next thing. It is its own separate thing. The people who want that individualized attention are different than the people who are going to want like to be in a group. And it's a totally different offer. It's a different way of being with one another, right?
Yes.
And so like, so it almost feels like community and movement are the same things, or like one's on the road to the other. But as I'm talking this out with you and hearing you and seeing how you're being and how the way you show up in the world has shifted, and then thinking of bring that back against my own past experiences, I'm like, oh no, they are just two fundamentally different things.
Yes, yes, yes. Because community, in what I have experienced, is yes, it's more closed, and it's okay. That's why the movement has a circle, that it's okay to safely explore, experience, and practice. No, to unlearn or to learn, flow into be, to create what you love. No, this part is through this practice, and it's okay because it has to be safe for that and free, in freedom. So, but then the part of the other part of the movement has to really be open, moving, because anyhow, what we learn in there, we express and expand outwards. So this has to be open. And for instance, one thing that every week I have conversations with Patricia. No?
Yeah, I noticed that. I saw that. It's really great.
So, but we are learning together, no? And before doing these conversations, we learned in PiMOV together with others certain things that we went to the edge, and we now are creating weekly conversations where we are just being, we are flowing, and that's the expansion outwards. That's the movement. Because with whatever Patricia is and I am and we do, we expand the movement outwards. It's a movement. But then we might, in the circle, have conversations that are then safe and they're closed, because some people will need that. Until then, they're able to flow in the being.
Okay, like as we're talking, there's so many things that pop off in my mind. So one of the things you're saying right now is something I love to think about when it comes to like inclusion, right? And a lot of times I'll talk to people and they're like, oh, I want to create an inclusive environment. And so they'll try and make one thing that's for everything, you know? And to me, I find like those spaces end up either not feeling safe because there's too much of it. I don't know what it is, but it's there's too much, you know? And it doesn't feel empowering either, because what I found is like in those spaces, like people come out and they're like, oh, I like this should be good for me. So like, I want more of this. And rather than them taking the initiative to move it on their own, they're waiting for someone to like augment or enhance that space as opposed to expanding it themselves, right? And one of the things that I've been playing with here, and actually I don't think I'm playing with, I think it's me downplaying it. Like I believe that like true inclusion comes with like great exclusion. Now but the great exclusion part of it is not about it's like there's a place for this, and there's space for you to create what it is that you want in this space, in this, like in our area. So what I hear from you is like you have movement. The movement is the actual like it's the open, it's the expansive, complete, it has room for everything. Inside of that, there's a circle. And inside that circle, there's community. And if you want that kind of experience, the movement has it. The movement is not community. The movement is not the circle, but the movement has circle. And circles at times, you know? And there's opportunities for pop-offs. There's opportunities for the movement can handle it all. And that's why it's inclusive. But you don't do, it's like how do I say it? In the circle, you do the things that you do in the circle.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
like not like that's a circle time. Maybe that's where more privacy happens, more like, you know, all that stuff. So it's like super inclusive in the sense that there's a lot that can happen, but each thing has its space.
Yes.
And if people have other ideas, like, I mean, it's a movement. So it's like, you want to create, we have circles over here, we have squares over there. You know?
Yes. And that's the thing. Anyone is free to create what they want. If they want to create a square somewhere, we create a square in the movement.
Yeah. Okay. There's some questions I'm going to have with you around this year, because I'm loving being back on a movement track and talking about things from a movement perspective, as opposed to a practice perspective or a business perspective, or like, it just, to me, like, as we're talking, I'm like, oh yeah. You know, I've had the World Joy movement. I'm not sure if it's the words, but I think it's it. It's like, it's still my movement for right now. The movement might evolve into something new, but like the World Joy movement's there. And what I'm getting from this year is like, the World Joy movement is the big thing. It's the big overarching huge vision. I have a business within the World Joy movement. There's a business that, like, there will be a nonprofit, you know, or not a like social good, social enterprises. Like there's gonna be that kind of work, like, you know, in there as well. There'll be communities, there'll be whatever it is. The movement has it all. There'll be action in, there'll be petitioning, there'll be, the movement has it all. Okay. You know, you're bringing me into something here that I'm really liking. And what's also happening as we're talking here is the way the movement looks like. The way the movement looks like doesn't have to look like what I think other movements look like.
No, it will never be the same, because it's based on you.
Yeah.
It's you. And the way it will be, well, the way it is, it's based on you. And the how, as I told you other times, the how will come as you flow. But yes, concentrate on, think of a movement, have your vision, and then within the movement, what will come. But so let's leave it like that.
Let's talk it out, because I want to presence it here, because I realize, like, in my mind, I know what I meant when I said it doesn't need to look like other movements, but I want to just kind of say it out loud here. And some of the things around that is like, a movement should lead to like political change, you know. To me, a movement needs to have activism, and like, you are organizing people to do protests, or do like change legislations, or get onto like. And I realized, like, that's not my kind of movement. Well, sorry. Let me back that up. I realized that, like, I was thinking that was not my kind of movement. So at first it was, this is the only way a movement can look. Then it was like, but that's not my kind of movement. So my kind of movement needs to look something different. And what's happening in this conversation is actually the elevation and expansion of, like, that could just be a part of your movement, you know, like changing laws, like all that kind of activism and organization, like that type, just be another subset of it. If your business, you have like the, you know, the social impact part of the work that you're doing. You have like the, you know, actually changing laws and like legislative element of it all. It's all part of the movement, you know, as opposed to it needs to look one way or the other. No. It literally is just whatever it happens to be.
Yes. What will come in the moment that it comes, no? Because those things that you're mentioning, they will come, and you will be more active in something when it's the environment requires it, you know? So then you'll create that part. But the movement, it's a movement. And like it has that. A nice name, World Joy Movement.
Yeah, well, it feels great. Like the World Joy Movement came because like part of the reason I think like I've been on and off with this is that joy is in the word. And so joy is a really, really amazing and charged word. Yes. So when people see the World Joy Movement, it really is a world full of joy. but
Yes.
they think of it as happiness. And for me, it's way more than just
Mhm.
happiness, right? To me, my definition of joy is the unabashed and fully expressed expression of self, right?
Yes. Yes.
Unabashed and unapologetic expression of self. So I can have joy with tears streaming down my
Mhm.
face.
Mhm.
You know, I could
Yes.
be in, yeah, like I can be in joy, like while also being outraged and completely angry, because it's like in this moment, like I'm in the complete expression of that, and I can I am allowing myself to simply be, as opposed to putting on some kind of filter that helps other people feel safe or feel a certain way with the way that I'm being.
Mhm.
Do you get where I'm coming from with that?
Mhm. Mhm.
And so like world joy, and like it's actually world joy. It's like it came from the idea of like, we know world wars.
Yes.
That's a world that's based on competition. There's not enough resources. We want your resources. We're going to compete against you. We're going to go to war. So we know world wars. And for as long as I can remember, people have been saying like, let's just have world peace. And world peace to me is like an element where everyone just kind of like, they're all in their own different areas. Everything just kind of works. You know, hey, it's good to see you. It's good to be here. We're all kind of both tolerating and accepting of each other, you know, and everyone kind of does their thing in their own area. Nice, tranquil, feels really neutral, feels really good. For some reason, though, it also is like put out into the world as though it's like the most impossible thing. You know, we can never get to that. And what occurred to me, Jeannette, was like, if we're going for something that feels really, really impossible, then why are we setting our sights so low? Like, why are we just going for like that neutrality? What if like, what would be like if we were like, I'll use your word here, which has become something that's really important to me. Like, this is how I carried the movement forward, a positive impact movement forward. Co-created. What would a world of co-creation look like? So
Yes.
we have competition in world wars and cooperation in world peace. Like, what would like collaboration and co-creation look like? What does that word look like? What is like, and that to me is what world joy, like there wasn't a word for it. There wasn't like a
Mhm.
thing. There wasn't a thing that we were aiming for it. And that's when I came up with world joy around. I'm like, that's what it's about, you know? So
Yes.
yes, it's a world of joy, but it's also like the state of being in world joy,
Mm-hmm. Yes,
you
it
know?
comes. Everything comes from the beingness, from the
Yeah.
being, the individual, from this. Everything we create, every movement we create comes through the individual.
Tell me more. Tell me more. I want to expand and play with this a little bit. So
No, any movements don't move if they don't have individuals, and our movements that project outwards this joy, positive impact, the power of being, they always come from the person, the people in the movement.
yeah, when you say that, what got me was like the projecting outwards. It's like it needs to start from what happens within 1st.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yes. So, and what you were saying of joy, from where does it come? From within. And the expression of this joy in fullness, yours, mine, and other ones, that's the movement. And that's what happens with our movements. And our movements, they depend, they move because they depend on the people that come in and go, because depending on them, on their energy, the movement flows the way it has to flow. And we are not able to control it, which is the beauty of it also, because it's not ours. It's from everyone. And that's the co-creation part.
So how are you going about here? Like, so, all right, there's two things. There's one thing you said really early that I feel like I just wanted to just call out because it felt like a really interesting like insight to play with. And then there's a part where in this conversation, I would love to flow with you toward like the actual, like the being in creation of the movement. Is that what I want? There's the being in creation, and it's who are we being as we are shepherding, co-creating the movement from the standpoint of like, as much as it's ours and it's part of the individuals, like we're also leading our thing. We're creating the containers, we're creating the like, if we're not in control, but like there's an element of guiding to help people come in and know, come in and take it there. So I would love to spend a lot of time actually exploring that with you. There is one thing you said though that like has been, that I just felt was like really great, that I just want to put out. You good with that first?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the thing that you said was like, when I asked you about like, oh, I really noticed like your level has gone up. You're like, yeah, I started what I started doing what I was doing when I started, you know? And I just thought like you just said it, but I just thought it was so beautifully, like, it just so beautifully encapsulated like some of the biggest learnings I'm feeling right now, where it was my interpretation of like the way that hit me was like, yeah, in our heart of hearts, we know what it is that we want. You know, we know what it is that like how this could be and how we want to bring it out to life. And then like stuff happens, we start bringing it to life, or maybe we second guess ourselves. We ask other people. We're like, well, let's go research how to get this done. And it turns out like, oh, someone else didn't try it, but someone else has a movement and they did it this way. So I guess this is where I need to go in order to do it. And at some point we lose that like beautiful core that was just like what the seed in which it was growing. The whole thing started growing. Yes.
That's why I always say we spiral up. But yes, me too. I thought when I saw that, oof, I'm again no, because I'm in the spiral somewhere else. That makes sense. I went to this point where I started the essence. I got the essence again, you know? And I had lost it, like you were saying, I had lost it because of the outside world and my mind and everything else. But the essence, I felt like I'm going back to the essence. How nice, I'm feeling it.
How does that, like, let me ask you here before we go, like, because I think this actually gets into the being of leading in this case, right? Like, how does that feel for you as you're doing it? And how is that like, I want to just get like a taste of like, how has things like shifted by going back to the essence right now for you as like in your being of leadingness?
Yes, no, but for me, it's more, it's like flourishing again, no? It's not failure and nothing, because I know I evolve as I create, and as I create, I evolve. And I saw the same as you said before. I said, oh wow, now this is the spiral of positive impact. This is the spiral of giving and receiving, and this is the spiral of evolution. No, I'm in a point where some years ago I was there, but I didn't have the knowledge I had to have, and I didn't value myself enough. And so I left it and I spiraled around until I came back here. But now with lessons I've learned in this trip, and who knows, maybe I will spiral again and come back to it. Who knows, no? But it's beautiful because you acknowledge that and you see that and you say, wow, I've grown. And I feel it, that I'm okay where I am now. And yes, I might spiral again, but I feel I am very okay where I am now. And I've been always flexible, and in adaptation, I learned to adapt and be flexible and be intuitive to follow one step at a time, no? And just construct this spiral by walking, no? My shoes now, my shoes, and not anyone else's shoes. So yes, and by being a leader, for me, I'm the leader for myself. Now, this is the socially conscious leadership. Now, I'm the leader for myself. And I'm the example I want to see for myself. So going into the movement, the way we lead the movement, at the end, the movement is led by everyone, but everyone being the example of what they want to see in the world. No? They align and they belong to the movement because they are the example of what we want to see in this world. And me, as the founder, let's say, of the Positive Impact Movement, the way I lead myself is by being the example. So through that, I might inspire others to do the same. So I'm moving a movement because of that. No, because of daring to be who I am and create what I love. If I do that for myself, I inspire others to do the same. And that's the movement. Other ones will do the same and they will move and they will expand freely the way it has to go, wherever it has to go, because it's a movement. It might not have the Positive Impact Movement name when people do that, but it's moving and it starts from this being through the inspiration and empowerment.
I'm allowing some things to wash over me. It's fun to be in here because like it's fun for me because it's like as we have a conversation, there's a lot of things that are like I'll bring up in the conversation because I'm like, oh yeah, that's right, I knew that. And like, but I conflated the movement with the business, you know, or the movement with the community, right? So it's fun to talk about it because as you said, I'm like, truth. That's right. This is what we're really aiming. It's almost as though like my viewpoint keeps like raising up higher and higher to like, that's right. Here goes the actual view of what we have. So thank you.
Yes.
That's one. Two, there's a level like actually I you said like as the founder of PiMOV, and I think that like actually for me that like opened up a lot, right? There's because what I'm hearing is like there's co-leadership here. Like you are the founder, right? But like, and you are a leader in it, and everyone's a leader in it. And there was some kind of freedom that I felt in there where it's like, okay, so like it's different from having to be the leader to being like a leader, which is what I would want from a movement, you know.
Yeah.
But there's also an element of like not it feels like holding the responsibility or it's holding the I don't know what the word is. There's something there that like and as much as it's everyone's, it's also yours. Like so like owning your role in the creation and the expansion of this.
Yes. I remember about 2 years ago, 1.5, we talked in PiMOV. But the co-creators, the PiMOVers were telling me, Jeannette, at the end, you never say you are the founder, but at the end, you're creating this, and we thank you. And I'm being always told, especially by Patricia also, we are here because you created it, you know? And some time ago, I was saying, yeah, but I'm a co-creator, you know? Which I am. But I didn't value the fact that I planted the first stone. And that's something that at the end, I have to value and I have to acknowledge. I planted the first stone. And that's it. Then the co-creation comes through each of the PiMOVers, each of the people, socially conscious leaders, the people that create the movement. And we are all equal, okay? But I acknowledge that I planted the first stone, or that I put the first stone. I didn't do that before.
It's important, I think, because like, it's important. I think it's an interesting dance to play, because so in my mind, it's like as the movement is growing, like it requires people to put in energy. And the thing is, if I'm getting you right, like it'd be different if you and 5 other people came up with it at the same time. It's like it was you. Like you're like, okay, now I'm gonna go bring the people together to do this. Like, and even now, it's like there's a lot of your thoughts. You're bringing up the knowledge, and you're bringing people into the experience of like being a socially conscious leader. Like it's like you're allowing people to say you're already a part of the movement, just so you know, like this, like we're all in this together, and here goes some different ways. Let's be in let's move. Let's just keep moving together and continue to be with each other as the movement is taking place. But I do think there's something in there around attention, not attention, but tension, around like, how do I show up as a founder while also being a leader? You planted the first stone, and then you planted several other stones. There's lots of stones out there that you put a lot of things out there, right? And without that, the movement wouldn't have like the energy to get to the place where it has like its own critical mass and so on and so forth. Like I love seeing that you and Patricia are doing things on a weekly basis, right? That to me was like, okay, boom. Now there's like, now the ownership and leadership now seems to be like in a different level than like you are organizing and someone is attending and they attended all and so on. It's like, oh, this is our thing that we're creating, you know? So, but I there's something in it, at least for me, that speaks to, I don't know, there's a tension that comes in where like, and maybe what it is that it's different leadership for different people, right? So I'm thinking about different people I've talked to who have led multiple movements, set up different foundations, so on and so forth. And it's like, look, we're all leading. My job is to go out and talk about this and be the face of it. This is how I lead in this, you know?
Yeah, there must be someone. For me, a positive impact movement, the name it has now, who knows how it was, but it's my responsibility because it has to do with my growth, no, and my evolution. And I came to service it, whatever it is. I came to service it, okay? And then so because I came to service it, I'm also responsible to give it a face, no? Because I'm the example of what I want to. I'm there to be who I am and create what I love. So I jump out and I say it and I do what I am. And that's a way. That's my leadership in the positive impact movement. But like you're saying, there are different kinds of leadership as people we are in the movement, because everyone is a leader in the movement and everyone is co-creating the movement. My role is the one to give it a visibility and share it. But I have now also, we are many, we are some doing that also, no? Patricia, you know, when we have these conversations. And so it's a co-creation,
Absolutely. I think that's, I feel like it was important to have to like discuss this, because like it is like that tension, I think, has shown up for me, and in other conversations I've had with other movement leaders, socially conscious leaders as well. They were so conscious of the social environment around us. They were like, no, everyone's a leader. It's like, but without the pillar, like without someone playing that role, it doesn't have the energy, right? And I feel like there's an energy infusement from you that like makes it feel alive, so that then I will go and contribute in my own way, and so on and so forth, right? Because it's great being a part of the PiMOV, and also knowing that I'm leading the World Joy movement, and like and knowing that like the World Joy movement is part of the PiMOV movement, and at the same time PiMOV is part of the World Joy movement, right? So it's like it's this really great element of of the co-creation of the flowing with one another.
This is co-creation. We are together co-creating a world through our being, the movement, through our leadership. And it's a movement doesn't that's why it's so important. It's a movement, and a movement can flow with other movements, interact, melt, and then continue. But we don't have to have these borders that are always said, that we have to put those borders. No, it's your movement. Don't come to my movement. No, we're melting, and we're co-creating together something even bigger.
And it's like as I'm in this conversation with you, what you don't know is that in my head, I've had a lot of conversations with myself, right? Where it's like, oh, where would the conversation go? That'll be really meaningful. Who's gonna who might see this at some point? What's the thing that's happening here, right? I keep presencing myself back here. I should have just meditated beforehand so that those thoughts would have floated, just gone all the way. I keep presencing myself back here. And as it's going on, I'm realizing that I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the co-creation element of it. There's a part of me that is thinking about this on behalf of myself. Another part of me is thinking about it on behalf of you, and on behalf of someone else, another leader, and so on and so forth, right? There are questions that are coming up to me that I'm like, oh, I really want to ask this, and I think that someone else would want to ask this, and as we're in this conversation, there's the element of all we knew was that we were going to put time on our calendar together. That was it. And where the conversation was going to go,
we
don't know. But the act here, the things that I'm responding to, the way I really don't mind just saying some of the thoughts that are in my mind, because I realize I'm oh, I'm co-creating this. I get it. For me, I love to surface the inner and make it outer, because it's look, you're going to see some tremendous things come out from both of our movements, and there's going to be so much energy and so much movement that comes out of it. And I love to make sure that the human parts of the human that is the leader or the founder, I think I'm going to use that founder part. It feels good right now, but the people, the human parts of leadership, the human parts of being here, also come out, and I feel, especially for what we're doing, how anyone that is watching this, or anyone that we come in contact, anyone that's in our sphere, anyone who's never even met us, but is doing something for that's making a positive impact, that's working toward an image of world joy and in the long run, I just feel how how this act of co-creation actually lends itself to their support. So I'm appreciative of this, Jeannette, because in a sense it feels like a game that me and you just started playing, and it's a mental craft in my mind. We've had lots of conversations, so it's funny that it feels like this right now, right? But it feels like a game in which you're playing, which is hey, you want to play the co-creation game? I know I talk about co-creation. When you want to play the game, and you're and I'm yeah, let's go play. And you're great, we're in it. We're in round 5. You're oh, okay. This is what it actually feels like. So I want to voice that. I want to voice that because I think, I think it's something that we intrinsically know. And we might speak to co-creation, but then the actual process of it, what it might feel like, especially as you're getting into it for the first time, I want to voice that. I may never ever feel this way again. I mean, Jeannette, we're going, but today I feel it, and I want to voice it because I like it is real. And if it's happening to me, and this is where I think you're with the individual, if it's happening to me inside of me, then I am not. I may be an individual, but I am not alone. And so I'll put out. This wanted to flow out of me, and it is here in the conversation. What does your heart say to any of this?
For me, don't you feel the limitless potential that we are, and that we are co-creating through co-creation? This co-creation is something so huge. We're not even able to grasp it in our minds. This power of co-creation. And I'm sitting down here with you, and we are talking about our movements and co-creation. And we are co-creating a conversation. We are co-creating through our movements. We are co-creating their movements, and an even bigger movement, you know? And it's limitless power that it cannot be grasped. It comes through each of us individually. For me, it expands. I'm co-creating with you, and I'm flowing. I feel this potential that we have, you know, but not the potential of visualizing. No, this universe that embraces us, that we are capable of co-creating just by getting together. And I don't know how to describe this universe, no, because the universe is universe. It's something so huge, and it comes just through this.
Yeah, this is fun. This is fun for me because there is there's a part of that wants to like describe this, because I'm like, I can't tell people about it, and it's one of those things you have to experience it.
Yeah.
You know, it really is one of those things where you have to experience it. I think like what's happened as I'm going through the experience of it is, yeah, it's the I had a way to articulate it beforehand, but it's the I know it. This is where this is how I'm gonna go down. You talked about being the founder and one of the leaders and co-creators. Now I'm noticing you use your language very deliberately, like I'm a co-creator in the PiMOV,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And you talk about, for you, leadership in this movement is everyone create an example of the world they want to see through them. Did I get that right?
Yeah, through who you are and create what you love. At the end, you are being the example of what you want to see in the world. You're being you.
Yeah. And so that is, and I'm grateful that you I'm grateful you bringing that co-created element to you. You know, like it's one of the things that you bring to this space. It's refreshing, and so like my mind is remembering it in terms of the spiral. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. Keep this one. But inherently, this conversation is an example of co-creation, because we are in the process of co-creating. Yes. And it is different. And I think this is where it feels really that I want to like articulate like this, like, because it feels like there's distinctions in here, right? You know, I'm big on distinctions and different nuances, like, you know, but it's like, it feels different because we're not in a conversation about, hey, what do you want to co-create? And then what would it take to co-create? And who can we organize so we can co-create that? We're simply in the co-creation. This conversation is the creation.
So it is.
And so it like,
yes.
So it is, full stop. Yes. Like this is it. It's not a to be had co-creation. It is already happened.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's when we get together in co-creation, in our conversation and co-creation. We are sitting here flowing through our being, through our hearts. Co-creating.
Can I just say, like one of the things that you bring to the experiences I have with you in terms of co-creation is flow, right? And that, like, I like this because this is how you and I co-create. I'm sure, like you and Patricia, same hour, you know, same starting, like however it's like, the co-creation would be very different, you know, because it's like it's just a different energies, right? So what I love about this here is, and look, like energies, the things that I'm interested in, like I'm someone who speaks out what I feel from the inside, and I say it out loud, you know. And then if I see something in you, I'm also going to pull that out. Yeah. And I'm recognizing as we're doing this, like one of my things is like, I love to learn in real time, like, and be reflective. And it's like, look, there's a part of me that's like, I got this. And another part of me is like, oh, but I'm like the process of learning, relearning, unlearning. I want to I want to constantly be in that process, and bring as one of my, at least in this conversation, my co-creation contributions being that, like, I want to make the invisible more visible.
Yes, and I love that. Yeah, I love that, because you place questions that make me, I'm always trying and being in observation, no? But you strengthen that part.
Yeah.
And I love that, because then integration happens.
Yeah.
And this co-creation, and this learning, no, these reflections. So it's beautiful. Thank you for that.
It feels it. I have to take off now.
Yeah.
But I'm appreciative of being in a co-creative experience with you. And it's also just like makes me just like presences me a lot. Right.
Yes.
And like I'm going to speak to this because there's a little distinction in my head around it. It's not that like it made me present to the conversation. It made me present to co-creation is in existence all the time already.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
This, like there wasn't a thing that was coming afterwards here. It is, we've done it. You know, and it is beautiful. I wouldn't say it was. I'm like, no, it's still happening. It's like it is beautiful.
It is.
Okay, hey, this is fun. This is fun.
Yeah, and you know, you said, I know you have to go, but you said maybe we could do that really live. Every 2 weeks, every once a month. Who knows?
Yeah, I like,
because it's a learning, and it's so nice to be sharing. And since I always vibrate with you, I love it, because I feel the power of being yours and mine a lot. I think it has a lot of impact.
Yes, I like this is easily one of the easiest, easiest things to say yes to in my world, because you get it. We like the work is already done. And I love that element of like let us come in, and this is what I like to practice with you, because I feel like this is something that's important. But the practice of being in the creation of being the example of the world that we want to see.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And that part of me feels really alive with you right now. And it feels different than the other spaces that I'm in. I you know, it's like a long lost friend, you know.
Yes.
And I'm like,
yes.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yes.
The experience is the gift.
Yes.
Not here goes what you're gonna do after the experience. We're done. You had a chance to live in a world where positive impact was already existing.
Yes.
You got a chance to live in a world where where the expansion was already there.
Yes.
The social consciousness was already there.
Yes.
Like your individualness can come out already there. I got a chance to be unapologetic and unabashed in my expression, including like the development. And so like we got to just have that experience.
Yes. Yes. Yes, because that stays with us forever, and that's what grows us and expands us. And everyone.